This is Stars and Scopes with your friend Uma, updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, take a look at your rising sign first if you know it, and do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're interested in your birth chart, check out the readings page at umaruby.com, and if you'd like to support the work, head over to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and you can buy me a coffee. Finally, if you're a visual learner, look up Uma Ruby Tarot on YouTube and you can watch and learn. Okay, let's take a look. Hello Aquarius and Aquarius rising. Welcome to your horoscope for the Solar Eclipse in Scorpio, happening on the 25th of October at 9:49 p.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. So if you're in the northern, it's the 26th, I believe. I'm not sure where to begin. I think that I might give a trigger warning for this reading. I've been giving them to everyone. It's an overarching theme. We're working with a very specific energy, I think, at this lunation. So if you're not in a space to talk about things like grief and loss, Aquarius, then it might be a good thing for you to sit this one out. If you feel comfortable enough, we'll move forward. There's a collective feeling of loss at the moment. There's a shedding that's happening right now for everyone, no matter where Scorpio lays in their chart. There is definitely, this solar eclipse is sort of a marker point for a culmination of loss. We're going to have a few more eclipses in Scorpio to come, but this one is, where do I start? So I apologize, I'm so scattered. It's been a difficult day to record these, I'll be honest with you, but I'm getting there. The Five of Cups is our guiding energy for these readings. The moon and the sun find themselves at 2 degrees of Scorpio, and this is the tarot card for that point in the zodiac. The Five of Cups is about sorrow after loss. It's really highlighting the importance of that moment, to feel those particular emotions, to sit in grief and sadness for a time after something has come to an end. Scorpio is in your 10th house. That's what rules that part of your chart. If you've got planets in there, there'll be an extra activation to this eclipse. But the 10th talks about your public face, the way that you're perceived by other people, what you're known for. It can be in your career. It's mostly, if you think about the 10th and the 4th house, opposites, it's public versus private. And this is where all of these eclipses have been playing out in your life, in your chart, Aquarius. The sort of polar opposites of these two houses, these two areas of life, are both going through some sort of change. And they have been since November of last year. And this is, as I said before, it's like the middle point. This is terrain that we're familiar with. This is definitely, we're reaching a point in our journey together that this is not the first time that this has come about. However, solar eclipses are a power outage. They are definitely, some people can say that they're like a karmic redirection. There's external forces moving with us. That could be spirit, God, the earth, nature, whatever it is that you align with in your faith. There's kind of a guiding hand. In the ancient world, folks were scared of eclipses. They thought that they were the gods smiting them in some way. Imagine being out and it being a sunny day and it going black all of a sudden and you not knowing that the eclipse was taking place. It'd be tricky. in modern culture, we know that the gods don't smite us. They're not working against us. But there is something about the shedding that is really attached to eclipses. And so this shedding that's been affecting your public self, the way that you're publicly perceived, and also your private life, your home, your roots, your stability, that area where you retreat to away from the public. Both of these houses are experiencing eclipses. And so at this 2 degrees of Scorpio moment, it's almost like a rest stop. And if you can see here, there's 3 cups that have toppled over. And this figure in the black is mourning the loss of those 3 cups. There's 2 behind them as well. So all is not lost. That's definitely one thing to remember. But potentially, through this time, through this last year, there's been a lot for you to unbind yourself from. And you've done all that you can in a Scorpio kind of way, perhaps. Think of Scorpio as fixed water, of ice, of immovability. Now might be the time that some of that water starts to flow. And there can be a recognition, an acknowledgement of some of that pain with having to say goodbye to a version of yourself that was palatable to the public. There's going to be a reminder of that square energy between Saturn, which is still in your first house. You remember Saturn is the boundaries, the rule book, the protector, and Uranus, which is still in Taurus, which is the rebel, the one that flips the script, and that's in your 4th. So this next lunar eclipse in Taurus will be informed again by that Uranian energy. It's been challenging times for the fixed signs. I'll say that for sure, because if it's not an opposition, if it's not happening in the first house, then it's a square in this public perception and the home life. So these 4 houses that are very important: the 1st, which is the self; the 7th, which is our relationships; the 10th, our most public perception; the 4th, our private life. This has been going through the meat grinder for this last bit of time, and I can only imagine that there might be grief to deal with. There might be some harder emotions, some more intense emotions to grapple with at this time. I wonder if we can think about Scorpio for a second. And let's think about their challenges and all that they have to offer hand in hand. Scorpio is one of the most intense signs of the zodiac, and that's because they lay in the spiral around. They lay at a point where we come to reckon with our soul. We come to reckon with our very essence. And Scorpio is a warrior. Scorpio is a protector. So as cold as they can sometimes feel, or detached, or difficult to get to know or get near, that's because there's a protection there. They're frozen. They've frozen their emotional channel out of knowing what lies beneath and how deep they can go. And so there's a warrior essence with Scorpio. They say that on the soul's path through the zodiac, there's 2 points of combat. There's 2 points where the warrior is called into action, and that's Leo, which is your 7th house, and that's Scorpio, which is your 10th. So there's something around the idea of Leo fighting for individuality and fighting to express and be themselves. And then Scorpio fighting for everyone's soul, looking death right in the eye, looking that confrontation right in the eye and battling with that demon. Scorpio is well equipped at battling demons. And so this is the energy that we as a group, no matter where Scorpio lays in our chart, doesn't matter what house, this overarching theme, this energy that's sort of swathing us right now, can be felt probably across the board. I mean, you know, it's astrology, so not everyone is into that language. But for your benefit, Aquarius, for your regulation, I want to maybe offer the idea that you're not alone in this. If perhaps feelings of grief and sorrow and regret or sadness are coming up for you at this time, I want to remind you that you're not alone in this at all. And that depth of feeling, which you kind of wear on your public self, you know, like there's something lovely about an Aquarian rising because their public self is so Scorpio, is so intense and emotionally resonant and deep. That could have something to do with what you do for a life's work too. There could be a great deal of emotion that you need to contain because of the work that you do. And at this eclipse, as there is external influence that is changing and shifting and moving our lives into the direction that we are best aligned with, while we put our tools down as far as making magic, we can definitely allow that gate to open, and we can allow some of that emotion, that fixed emotion that we've been holding in, flood a little bit. I've pulled you some more tarot cards, Aquarius. I got the Ace of Wands and the Justice and the Four of Wands. And I like this. I like this central Libran energy. I like that there is a spark that's reignited in you. I really, really can see that. There's a fire again that maybe was not there for a while. I can see that you're really wanting to make sure that everybody in your environment has their just deserves, you know, the weight is evenly carried between you and the other. What I see for you, this Four of Wands, I see as a really happy home. I see this as a victory in some way. I see this as your fourth house. I see this as the lunar eclipse in Taurus in 2 weeks for you, the fourth being activated again by that karmic hand. That your roots, your stability, your privacy are coming to a point after all of this reconfiguration, this chopping and changing and moving around. You're going to find yourself in a clearing, and you're going to find yourself really safe to be exactly as you are at every hour of the day. This home for you represents a space where you can be yourself at all times. This is a retreat. This is a space where you don't have to be anything for anybody else. You can come as you are. And it's definitely been a long road, and it's definitely been a lot of hard work and commitment for you, Aquarius, to keep your head above water and to keep moving. It's really great that we've got the amulet of Saturn in your corner for all this time, because they're serving you really well. That beautiful boundary, that cosmic boundary we talked about, is protecting you through and through. Another amulet, another talisman of protection that you can feel right now is Venus. Venus is at 2 degrees of Scorpio as well. So as much as it feels mucky and painful right now, know that you're being protected by a light that is about beauty and love and kindness and passion and sensitivity and pleasure. This is where your life is headed. You're headed into a space of pleasure and of being recognized for who you are. There'll be more to iron out in this 10th and 4th. There'll be more to iron out in your 1st and 7th. There's a lot of upheaval for you at the moment, Aquarius. And this solar eclipse is going to be a marker point for you to maybe witness what you've been through and what you've changed and what's happened in your life, what's moved along. Bear witness to it and allow that emotion to flow through you. Allow that water to move. Yeah, that's your reading, Aquarius. I hope that that's okay, and I hope that you feel recognized in this. I hope that it wasn't too sorrowful. I mean, yeah, we've just come into Scorpio season, so it is about the deep emotions, am I right? It is about that sort of intensity. So for the next bit of time, it's going to be present in our conscious awareness. And there's going to be a bit of a dance between Venus and between Uranus as well. So, yeah. I'll see you in 2 weeks for the lunar eclipse in Taurus, and we can talk more about the 4th house. We can talk more about this changing of the guard at home and what home looks like now as opposed to what it used to look like. But until then, Aquarius, I love you very much. You can always get your birth chart read at umaruby.com. Go to the readings page and pick your journey. There might be some questions that I've written down there in the descriptors that you need answers to. We can focus in on that. But yes, until I see you in 2 weeks, I love you very much. Take care. Bye.